Anna and Francisco, of course, from this very last film of our short competition. Once again, round of applause for them, please.
Let's start like this. Yeah?
But maybe how film works.
Okay.
So
From the first one.
Yeah, of course, if you have any questions, please raise your hands and we will give you the mic. I will start with the first question for you because, like, how on earth have you met this character? And, like, are you planning to do a full-length movie about him? Because I would love to see it.
Okay. First of all, I would like to thanks for inviting me here in this amazing place, and also thanks you for your passion in cinema and passion of sharing cinema. So, how can I meet Flaminio, the protagonist of my film? I was there in that place, in that places, for scouting for another documentary that I never made. It's happened for our documentary. And so the people from there, they say me that I need to meet Flaminio, I need to meet this community. And I so yes, I know a lot of shepherd, I know a lot of community, but sorry. And then the third time that they invite me to meet Flaminio, I went there, and for the first time I was very astonished because it was for me a kind of joke, no? It's real or not real?
Yeah, actually,
same for us.
When I watched your film, I even went because sometimes you receive this, crooked submissions that ends up in the wrong place, and I was like, okay, maybe it's fiction. So so I checked several times actually.
Yeah, it's also because on my script of the film, I scripted I want to make a kind of hybrid languages between fiction and documentary. So also because at the beginning I was interested in make a film almost like that that link ethnographical approach with a fairy tale. So it was a
something
kind
in
of
between.
exactly.
But if this protagonist live during only the summer or during all year there, or it's just
All the
for
year.
all the year? How?
Like this.
So okay, but how you communicated with him because he is unknown with the camera, with the filming, with everything. How you communicate with him to be ready for for shooting, for how it was?
Yeah, communication.
And if I made it to this question, because I was curious, so he has everything super natural, around him, but suddenly you see that he has a paper, pencil, plastic, so how much of civilization he actually encounters, so how exotic for him was it? So it was exotic for us, but for him, having you with camera.
Of course, we had a great communication, also with words. In Italian or in dialect, kind of. I was born and grew up in a city near the city of Flaminio.
Which is?
My city is Brescia, and Bergamo, it's near here. There, it's the city, no? Yeah, you mentioned all the tool that he have in his life, and I would like to leave this kind of tool as a plastic because my idea was to tell a timeless story, no? But at the same time, I need to put some tool that
Shows the time period.
Exactly, exactly.
And
Tell me please if he has some relatives and like that, and does he understand that he is alone and only him live like this? And
yeah.
Or is it a whole community? Like
Yeah, yeah, but for Flaminio, it's not a unique story. He feel like a common shepherd, no? It's a little bit strange, but Flaminio don't think to be a special shepherd. So
it's many Flaminios like that there.
Yeah.
Meaning like in this community there are other shepherds who lead the same lifestyle.
Yeah, but Flaminio don't have a communication with the community because it's not too far from the little town, but at the same time never go there, no?
okay, but how he decided to live like this? It was decision because of something happened in his life, or it is like really tradition he lives from very childhood, and where is his relatives finally? Does he communicate with them?
The tradition is for the shepherd is to live alone. Tradition, of course, in a little community, but at the same time, the story of Flaminio, he was a photographer until 22 ages. Yeah, it's crazy. And then he chose to begin to be a shepherd until 30 years old. And then he moved in this building from 30 years old to 74 on the movie years.
So this is the decision.
Yeah, it's the decision. Yeah, it's a choice.
What's happened?
No, nothing in particular. This is how can I say? Yeah, it's a choice, but it's not a radical choice. I can't explain, sorry, exactly. But it's mean on my film. It's mean a radical choice. But for Flaminio, it's not a radical choice because also the other shepherd live like that. Of course, in a different building, in a different cloth, in a different way, maybe with electric light, maybe with water inside.
No, I'm sure he's happy.
No?
We have a question from audience.
Half and half.
Because choose to be alone.
Yes, thank you very much for your film. It's very impressive. It seems like you made a lot of deliberate artistic choices in how you produced the film. Why was your decision never to have Flaminio speak? Was that a very conscious decision? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the question. My idea was to tell a story with a timeless story, but also a spaceless story. I don't want to. My idea was to not.
Put
Okay.
in some country,
Exactly. My idea was to share with this story, and it could be happen everywhere. This is my idea. So the word, of course, you can. If you see the word, you hear Italian words or a typical Italian.
Spanish or the American,
yeah. Exactly.
Any other question? Yeah.
I would like to ask you, what was the budget, if you're comfortable sharing that? What was your gear? and camera-wise. And I mean, apparently you had complete control over what time you were shooting, where. So is that true, or it's just my impression? Oh yeah, and how many days for shooting?
For shooting. Okay. So the budget is the
You don't have to.
No. The budget is around 20,000. Very short budget, but it's what we had. So we shot in 5 days. I write all the images and scenes that I need, and yeah, only 5 days. And the second question?
Gear. Camera, gear, lenses.
Okay, we were there in 3 people, the cinematographer, me, and the sound designer. The sound recorded and the sound designer, the same person. So 5 days with 3 people.
So which camera and
We shoot with a Sony Alpha 7 Mark II. With lenses, Canon lenses, but photographic lenses. Yeah, it's not. It's what we can make. It's not a great camera or great lenses, but it's work.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for this experience, for sharing that. Did you spend a lot of time with the guy? Like, were you there for some days, or did you build up a relationship with him before shooting? And if so, how long?
Thanks. So the relationship was in the 2 months before the shooting. I went there to make the comfortable relationship, also for him, but also for me. And during the research, I was need to understand Flaminio, but at the same time I tell a lot of with Flaminio for the film that I would like to make, and also for this question that you said before, my idea was to not to make a movie as an experience, as you said. So my idea was to be near Flaminio, near the protagonist, but with a kind of invisible, to hear the sound of a lot of stuff, to watch detail. So for me, the pre-production, writing, but also to get in touch and know each other, it's the main part of the film for me. So thanks for the question.
Yeah.
Question?
Moment.
Okay.
Do you think that his previous relation with the camera makes easier your work with him?
Yes.
It could be, yeah. Also because he ever know where the camera was, no? But at the same time, of course, he forgot a lot. He was a photographer, and then sometimes makes something different or speak or make. But yeah, it was a photographer, and he understand the languages of the image.
Hello, thank you for the film. Do you have an ethnographic background, or do you have a consultant, or was Flaminio your consultant?
No, I not have ethnographic background. I study, but only by myself. My background is cinema studies. So I'm very interested in ethnographical or anthropological because I'm interested in human being and human behavior. So it's this.
Thanks again for the second question opportunity. Did you feel different around Flaminio, and after the shoot, after this experience of shooting with him, do you feel like your life, your values, your ideas, the things you think about, did they change somehow? Or like, how did this experience change you? And also, I missed it, how long you spent in pre-production and building this relationship with him. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry, can I add also to this question? Because you mentioned that for him it's nothing special like this choice in this lifestyle, but I believe for many viewers it's like we start building up in our heads something super philosophical, metaphysical. So, you know, like I would also add to this one, like, what were you talking with him about? Like, how was it, this communication, and has it really changed you and him as well?
Yeah, of course, for me it was, and it's a great experience. And so this is the third part of a trilogy about the ritual in Italian Alpine community. So this part for me is the main part as a for my person, and maybe the main thing that I bring with me, with the experience of Flaminio, is to play with the character, no? Not only observe, not only ask something, but also play and understand exactly what Flaminio think or do, and try to make a kind of communication, of course, a personality, person communication, but also with the audiovisual languages, no? So this is the important.
We have to move to another film because of time running. Your film, Going Alone. I am the person from the village, and I was shocked from your film because, you know, in our village, even if you live alone, because a lot of families, for example, kids left the village, go to some big city, even though this granny, for example, she lives alone, all village will organize the funeral and all village will come for the funeral. And I was shocked that in millions capital of Germany, that around a lot of people, you are going alone. Several days after, I couldn't speak even, because, you know, I was so impressed. How you touch this topic, like how you find it, and maybe you have some personal story that you come and see, how it was, like how you know about these special people that help everybody to, you know, to make this funeral, and yeah.
Yeah, thank you. It was actually a long process. I think I started thinking about a film about death already 6 years ago or something like this. I think it would be too long to talk about what happened, but somehow I was super curious about this topic and I was really fascinated by it. And in the beginning I started to have like many different ideas, and I wanted to go more in an essayistic idea about visibility of death in the cities. But yeah, how it always is, there are many ideas. You have to find your way to a film. And yeah, in this research I found out about these state burials that are happening in Berlin, and it was new for me. And I thought that in this specific case there are a lot of things that I would like to tell about our ways of dying, mourning, remembering in the society. And I was also a little bit shocked in the beginning. I have to say that this is happening because it's almost 10% of all people in Berlin that die, they're buried like this. And the protagonist, he has like 10 burials every day, and he's in a year it's 2,500 or almost 3,000 that he's burying. In the research I met this person. I knew all these burials are taking place on this particular graveyard, and that it's like just him doing all of this. I mean, when he's on holiday, there's somebody else who is doing this, but I think there's nobody, I don't know, probably nobody else in Germany who is burying so many people as he does.
I had one protagonist in my documentaries that he said living in the village is so good. He compared village with the town, big city, because you come not alone and you go not alone. And now when I compare, in big city, nobody cares when you come to this world, and nobody cares when you go. Like it's just a fact, just a statistic, as you said before. Does this job influence to the protagonist? Like how his life changed after? Because this is not the project of all his life, right? He did something else before, maybe,
as he said also in the film, he had like different jobs before which were not related to this kind of work. He was running a bar, he was helping with movings, like carrying things. I mean, somehow logistics is his thing, before it was washing machines, now it's urns. He works there since 2 or 3 years, I think. And he really likes this job because he's so much in contact with people, and he also he likes to have a stage. I mean, probably you noticed also in the film, and he said he wanted to become an actor also. So now he has the stage, and he has a really important role for the people he's seeing. So he really enjoys this, and also sorry. And also he is, he had a past himself being an alcoholic and living on the streets, and also an experience where he almost died, so he can really relate to the fate of many people. And it touches him, I have to say. So we had also screenings together where he was also very touched, talking about the film and his work. So it's he says it's routine for him, of course, but it's also touching when there are people who are not so old and when nobody comes.
I wanted to ask if you're originally from Berlin, and I think that's the most striking fact in your documentary, because we all know Berlin is this multicultural, vibrant city, when everything happening at the same time there. So, are you living in Berlin right now? And if yes, how come that you are thinking of this topic of death? And maybe you can go a little bit more personal on that. So, in the existential, let's say, sense, what are your opinion on death, on loneliness, and on people communication in a big city? So, how do you feel in Berlin? How it influences you, and what do you observe, say, in our generation, in older generation, maybe migrants? I don't know. What is your impression of that?
I think Berlin is a city where that attracts many people, that also attracted me, also because of being such a place where so many things are possible, but which also means that maybe some traditional social security is not happening like it is maybe in other cities or more in rural areas, and which is also quite anonymous. I mean, this is also why many people like Berlin and come to Berlin also, because it's so easy also to find your community somehow compared to maybe other German cities where it's like more tricky also for people from other countries to really find your place. So this is of course also a topic for me living in Berlin. And yeah, sorry? Why I thought about the death. Yeah, there was an encounter with a friend of mine who did a kind of internship at a funeral institute, and this was kind of inspiring for me to hear what this does to her, how she feels also very, yeah, how her perspective changed so much being in touch with this topic every day. And I also found like being in touch with this topic or thinking about death, and it was also in this process of research that I saw a dead person for the first time in my life, and like all of this was a very personal journey, of course. And yeah, I think it's still a taboo topic somehow in the society. People don't like to talk about it so much, and it's also not so visible. And yeah, I wanted to contribute a little bit about a discourse about this topic.
Questions? Yeah.
Thanks for the film. My question is regarding the work while shooting. How did you manage to film people that were coming to the cemetery to bury their loved ones? Since I believe some might have been maybe not wanting to be filmed or something like that. How did you manage that?
Actually, it was not such a big thing. I mean, of course, everything was very spontaneously. We just spent time on the graveyard, and I mean, Bernd, the protagonist, he also didn't know if people are coming or not. So it was really super random if there were people showing up or not. So we had to react also quite spontaneously and ask the people if it's okay if we shoot or not. In some cases it was also Bernd who was asking for us, and I think after some days of shooting we also got more routine in approaching the people, because in the beginning it was also something super special for me, for example, to be part of a funeral of someone I didn't really know. But after some days, we just approached the people. We said, okay, we are making this documentary film, and if it's okay for them, if we step a little bit back, but if we film this funeral, and for most of the people it was okay. Of course, there were also people that didn't want that, and we respected this, of course. But yeah, this is how it was.
Thank you. Unfortunately, because of time, we have to move to. Oh.
Can I ask you?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Did you start shooting during the pandemic, right? Or how was it for the protagonist? Like, did he reflect about that? I can imagine that maybe the deaths increased, or how was like the change, like along the years?
Yeah, it was in 2020 where we shot the film, and of course it was a topic, and many people were bringing masks and everything. But I mean, Bernd and us, we don't know what happened to the people who are dying, you know. So we just know the name and the date of birth and the date of dying, and that's all. So it's difficult to talk about this. But what Bernd says is that it doesn't really make such a big difference about the lonely dying.
With that, we are moving to you, Consuela, and we're moving from the topic of death to the topic of in a way, celebration of life, you know, and some vibrant environment. So you were a producer and a researcher for this film. So can you tell a bit more about this journalistic and researcher job that you did? So maybe you can start where you're from originally and how you related or not related to this place.
Okay. Yeah, I'm from Chile, so this project started with a previous research. I'm a social anthropologist, so I was working in an academic project for 4 years in that city, at Hospicio, in the extreme north of Chile. And we were researching that city because it's a really new city, and we were like trying to understand the different ways of dwelling in that city, so from different perspectives. And yeah, you're right, like then that project finished, and we, like some people from the team, we became like independent, and we started a new project because during this process we found this market, and it was really amazing because that was also one of the aims of our documentary. We trying to show like something like a positive side of this city, because this city, it has like it's really stigmatized in Chile. It was famously known in the media because of a serial killer, and also the trial, it was related to you. The trial was like really the justice didn't trust on the victims. So it was really horrible, and also it's a city well known about the concentration of poverty, informal settlements, and everything that people know about the city is like, it's not in a good way. So in the process of this previous research, we found this market, and we found like one place who was like really meaningful for the people, and it was like one of the only places for encounter, for socialization, and it was like a really like joyful place for the inhabitants. So that was like one of the aims, like to show like a positive and meaningful place in this city. So yeah, after the 4 years of the previous research, we applied for other for one little funding, and we made this documentary after 1 year of research. So we did like ethnographic research, and yeah, that was the result.
So that means that by the time of shooting you were on quite good terms with those people, and they knew you, because when, for example, I mentioned I quite often went to the flea market in Kyiv, and it's also quite huge, but I mean, if you're an outsider, those people can be really unpleasant to you, I must say. So I was wondering, like, what were your tools and tactics, you know, to persuade them that you will show, because probably a lot of researchers go there to explore this negative side that you are talking about. So how did you deliver the tune of this? Yes, exactly.
Yeah, we were like many hours in the market, and I and my colleague previously known some people who work there, but also we contact first the organization leaders, because the market has like some associations. So we contact the presidents first, and yeah, I think ethnographic work, field work is always like being there like so many hours until people like, they feel like they know you. So, but also it was really, I think the reception was nicer, because they knew that we were looking for like to try to show like other picture of that city. So we weren't there like to talk about the serial killer or I don't know, whatever. So that was that thing also changed like the reception of the people.
Mm-hmm. Any questions? Okay. Yeah.
I have 2 questions. One that just was from before, because I don't know why in the narrative you use the time as being something that at one point I'm like, what is this going to reveal? And in a sense I'm and I felt not fulfilled in that sense.
Yeah.
The other thing is, you said about the good side and the bad side. You end up with pollution, which is one of the, clothing pollution seems to be one of the highest polluting outcomes that we have. How do you feel about needing those two together?
Yeah, thank you so much for the question, because first, that was a decision of the director, the time thing, and it's a thing that it came from the audience. Like, it's not the first time that someone asked about it. But yeah, we approach, like our ethnographic approach was from the daily mobility of people. So we follow and we follow them, we accompany them, like in their everyday. So the first moment that they wake up until the moment that they go to bed. So we wanted, I don't know, like maybe Victor could explain that better, but the director, but I think it's related with that. Like the research was like trying to represent like the whole day. And according to the second question, yeah, of course, like that was one of the aims of the project at the beginning. But of course, when you are like in a city like that, or in a country like, I don't know, like in global south, that other things appear, and of course, the documentary shows like there is a conflict, and there is a conflict not related, like. It tried to show like how complex is the situation, because on the one side it's a place for opportunities, it's like a nice place of the city, but on the other side it's the importation of goods. Like Chile is one of the biggest importers of second-hand clothes in South America. There is no regulations for textile garbage. So. Yeah, it has some nuances. So, yeah. So, I think we're going to talk that later.
We can continue talking with Consuela and other actors later, but now we have to move on to the last film that you've seen today.
And this film is a good example of conflict between tradition and the law, which is a big topic. For example, in my, again I will will give you an example from my village. We have a rule, traditional rule, that, for example, when parents died, the younger sister and younger brother live on the house, and like this house is for him. But according to Ukrainian law, it has to be divided between two of them. It's the point that if it's just we can agree or not, but if not, we have to go to the court and decide it. Yeah, and according to Ukrainian law, you have to divide this house. So how you know this case, and how you come to this topic to make a film about this, and why?
In Mexico, authorities could ask for expertise, anthropological expertise, to opinion. And Francisco works from the National Institute of Anthropology and History. So sometimes communities has to look with the authorities. The authorities never known how to reach this expertise opinions. So they go from an authority to an authority, and they go with Francisco, and Francisco make this expertise. So we are anthropologists, we're not planning to make a video or find a topic. This case catches because it's the first case in Chihuahua and in Ciudad Juarez. So was then when the judge declines his authority in favor of the indigenous people, that's where we thought, oh no, we have to share this, because unique, it's very important, and that's when we start this journey with the film.
Yeah, so as you said, the case shown in your film is quite unique, but I was wondering, like, what is the scale of the tragedy in general, and is it changing over time? Like, do people start paying more attention, and especially like on a governmental level, on a jurisdictional level, you know, like, is it changing for the better, or is it like, is this case still unique?
No, this case in Chihuahua is still unique, but in the south of Mexico, you know, this Oaxaca and Chiapas, there are territories with a lot of diversity, cultural diversity, but there are so many people working in that regions that there are other cases. But in the north, there are a lot of anthropologists, there are not a lot of organizations helping. So yes, in the north of Mexico, it continues being the first one. But Francisco has make a lot of expertise opinions, and they were not like this, but they were taking an account for the resolutions, and it helps.
My next question goes to Francisco, because I'm wondering how many languages do you speak, like, of these minorities, first, and second, as an ethnographer, as an anthropologist, how much time do you spend doing a field work? So how much you communicate with those people, and how much you sit in your office, or I don't know, how does your job look like in general?
Thank you for the organization, thank you for the invitation. My English is not really good, but I'm going to translate a little bit. Maybe the most important for this kind of expertise documents is the cultural translation. So it's important to be solvent in the Indian language, but the cultural translation is important because the monocultural vision from the judges is very, very close. So you should to translate the culture, and you should try to be convincing in your arguments in the other logical, juridical, logical. Yes.
Yeah, and regarding your work, how much time do you spend outside, you know, like researching these cases, communicating with these people on spot, like where they live, so how much of this effort you do?
Yes, and the document should be short, because maybe 10 pages. But because it's interesting, the judge is not interested in read big paper. So, but behind this document, maybe you have 2 months or maybe 3 weeks. Depends on all kind of each case, please. So it's important if you have studied this case in other contexts. Maybe you have a background, but if you need new problems, maybe you need several months.
Were there any questions from audience? Yeah.
I just wanted to ask you, was this judge in particular open? It was because you have regularly worked with you, and how is that dynamic? Do you think that the film, you can use the film to show it to other judges or other communities to empower them to know that they could actually ask for this this change in jurisdictions in a way? I don't know.
Is the official speaker.
Yes, we think that this video will help, and Guadalupe, is the translator, says in the video that she's very lucky and happy to be taken into account, because the judges are different, because sometimes judges comes from any part of Mexico City. They do not know the local culture. So this is the difficult part, because maybe the judge could be from Mexico City and he never treated with indigenous people, for example. So it's difficult, and sometimes the lawyers ask for this expertise just for the case, but not really. Some lawyers didn't really know how this expertise helped either. So you as an anthropologist, you have sometimes to explain them. You know what kind of culture it is, but elemental things like the language, where they live, they are really, I don't know if they don't care, but it's difficult to care about, so cultural diversity. But I think it would help, of course.
Your minorities are happy, are really lucky to have such experts, and this is a good model for all countries to pay attention on cultural differences. Like, for example, we usually use from representative from medicine, yes, to give the resolution about some person. Why we can't have the same person expert who can analyze their culture and to explain the motivation of some crime, or maybe not just to explain, but maybe to give him like really nice lesson how to do this. And my question is last question about the guy, about the protagonist. Like, what's happened then? How is his life now, and how it was like after this?
Well, the Sierra Tarahumara, where they are from, it's a very huge territory at the south of Chihuahua, and it's difficult situation, economic situation, so they have to migrate to work. From the early years, they were, Ramiro was 15, and he was, I don't know how to explain this, but he was at that age in the same country, but he was like, I don't know, his family was here, and he was working in, I don't know, in Switzerland, for example. And these kids goes alone, and there are no communication. So when happened this, Ramiro was away, and their fathers were waiting for him. He didn't arrive, and they don't know why. And when the anthropologists were there, they tell them that his child was in jail. So Ramiro now it's grown, and I think Ramiro has now and the other guy 20 years, and they are working outside. They still are working outside. We sometimes talk with his sister and with his mother, and he always is outside working alone.
Yeah, unfortunately we can see that there is a lot of work to do for all of us anthropologists, cinematographers, but still your film is a great example, like how we can inspire each other, how we can learn from each other, and how we can actually include anthropology and ethnography to help people in such serious matters, not only like to inspire them culturally, shape diversity, but like practically help. So thank you for your film and for the topic. With this, we are wrapping up our Q&A. I'm sorry we're a little bit late with the next screening because of that, but we still have one more thing to do, which is present our authors with diplomas for participation and with our special prizes, which is a traditional Bessarabian brick So in Bessarabia, when somebody builds a house, the whole village gathers up and they build the house together, and it's like collective effort that stays with you for your whole life. So with these little bricks, we want to build our community of ethnographers, anthropologists, filmmakers, and we will.
And our dreams. This is the for building, and also it's so symbolic because all our mottos we put like 2 mottos: your culture is your weapon, and celebrate life. It is on the brick, and you can gather the mottos that will motivate you to make another film and to have another brick and to build your house and your dream and career. Yeah. And also, this is so important story to tell you that this brick was made by one craftsman who, after 24th of February, he went to the front, and the maquette was already made before, but then we stopped doing this, and special for doing this, he took a vacation from the army to make it. So you can feel the heartbeat of Ukraine and our warm and kindness for you.
Thank you guys, and with this, Daniel, if you can hear me, we can start the excruciatingly long advertisement block before the next screening, and I will ask you to proceed for the photos with our posters, please.